Yeah, so I'm just doing a quick speak there on the cloud and how it can be used in a BIM scenario. So as Mark mentioned there, some of his supply chain, even his own colleagues, are requesting models, and having to generate a Navisworks file it takes time. Whereas if you have everything above and within a cloud environment, they can access it from anywhere. And I can show how it works here with this. So this is mostly going to focus on the BIM 360 team, which is a cloud solution, and along with that then there's a collaboration for Revit, which is, from everyone's talks this morning, collaboration seems to be the key word that we're all talking about, and how it can be improved and what way it works. So the way projects are changing now present, it's all not solely that it's within the Irish sector. We have major customers who are probably based in the States. We have advisors who are at other parts of the globe, and it's how we relay information to them is going to be a problem. So currently, what the communication platforms we have at the moment are email, file sharing, and messaging platforms, and there's also multiple cloud hosting platforms, and they all don't interconnect. There's no communication amongst the other platforms, and there's data and important information that's lost throughout this communication. There's also different file formats are coming on board. Like you all mentioned about Revit and Plant 3D, and with some companies might be working with SketchUp or through other even 2D CAD files. So there's the different setups on all these. So the challenge then is why are we struggling with Revit Server? Revit Server is the main thing what other companies, and they're using that as their main kind of central file, and they're sharing that amongst their other modelers. So there's challenges for Revit Server. Like you need a pretty knowledgeable IT department who know how Revit Server works and how it's set up. The server itself is expensive, and with Revit Server, it's solely for the individual company. If you invite in an external, so say if you're struggling with a project resource-wise, and you ask for someone to help out who's not within your company, if you give them access to your Revit Server, they have potential to go through your firewall and do damage to your server, any data that you have within it. There's also no tracking of versions. You don't know what version a drawing is. There's no way of reverting back to a previous version. And then there's no kind of a communication between each design team or any of your contractors that you've brought on board to do any particular piece of work. And then no collaboration, which is the main problem. So that was the old way. So we've kind of put through is like the new way would be like this BIM 60 team and collaboration for Revit. So with collaboration for Revit, like everyone is gone off doing their own thing. They don't know where they are or which is the correct way. So we need EIRs to be set in place. You need to know what you need at the end game, and then you need to establish what software needs to be in place and why, and have everyone working off the correct drawing, not a copy that's been shared through any cloud that might be a version 2 weeks old, and they say, oh yeah, we're working off the correct one that I was shared through with some sort of a cloud sharing platform. So everything needs to reside in the one environment. So with collaboration, we need BIM level 2 compliance in order to collaborate. We need a common data environment to collaborate. And then there's with the way building control compliance is coming on board, you need to collaborate to ensure that there's no issues with your potential end product. There's also with design teams can share their ideas and have an impact on the overall design. And then there's BCAR and the building regulations. So with BIM 360 team, what that is it's BIM 360 team is the cloud environment where you store your models, your drawings, your PDF, anything. It's a cloud storage platform, and it can be accessed from anywhere on the globe on any device. And collaboration for Revit then is your communication tool where you just similarly just you work on it like as if your model is in the cloud environment. You don't have to save it down onto your own machine and work off it. And so all firms can, from any part of the world, to just log on to their Revit package, open up BIM, the file through a cloud environment, and it's onto your machine. So that's similar enough what it is. It's one model. You can have your structural guys working on the structural model in the cloud, your architects working on the architectural model in the cloud, and also the M&E. You can also have your supply chain, like your subcontractors, precasters. They can all, and that they're all, once the say for example, once the structural model and the architectural model are in there at the start, if there's any changes made in the structural model, it has an impact on the architectural model because they have a live link into their architectural model. So you more or less like what would it be, a federated model, as you say, up in the cloud. That's a live federated model. It's not one that you have to download at the end of every week and create a federated model. So that's standard Revit to within a single firm, where you just have Revit on your WAN, and then with collaboration for Revit, you have firms from any part of the globe working on the one centralized file. And then it's all, as I mentioned earlier on, that's your federated model process, where you have your architectural model. You could have 2 or 3 disciplines working on it in the architect's team, and similarly with the structure, but they know that they're working off the correct model. So there's no data loss, there's no potential for on-site issues. There's also with team, then there's an accelerator. So when you say download a file, it could be 200 megabytes at the end of every week. You have to upload that up, and that's taking a drain on your data. It's taking a drain on your time. And also, if someone has an issue where they're downloading a file and they've ran out of what would it be, that there's an issue with their IT, it causes an issue. So with Team, there's it's like an accelerator, where when you download, it reviews what changes have been made to the model, and it'll only upload what changes have happened. So you could only made a meg of a change, it'll only upload that meg. It also, with Team, then it caters for the BS and PAS file transitioning stages between systems, and the collaboration for Revit then works as a work in progress zone. So you could have 20 or 30 revisions in your model, and once you're satisfied that can be published up to Team, you can publish that then through the publish section in Revit. So you know what the correct drawings are being issued, and that once anyone who has access to BIM 360 Team on site, when they open up that model, they don't see the 20 or 30 revisions that you've previously made to the model. They only see revision C1 on the model, and they can view all the pertaining drawing sheets solely in the model. You don't have to print off 20 or 30 or even a couple of 100 PDFs and relay them to site. Once they open the model, they have access to all the sheets that you give them permission to view. With so say with BIM 60 Team, you can view any model on it. It's project centric, so you can have all your projects based on it. There's a live review functionality too, where if you want to have a quick meeting with someone who's in another part of the globe, or someone within your office who's in another part of the country who doesn't have Revit or doesn't have a high powered machine, you just send them a link and they can open up the model, navigate through it, and see exactly what you want to relay to them, comment on it, and you have a better understanding of the issue. It has the large model viewer. It's on the top right, which you can open up 100 plus file formats. You can open up the likes of SolidWorks files, SAT files, STEP files. There's a review functionality where you can do markups on it and have them all shared amongst the other invitees in the project. And there's it understands design data and workflows too as well. So as I mentioned before, it can open up the likes of SketchUp, SolidWorks, Microsoft Office files. So once you have a file on that system, there's no need to download it off. I think it's forcing people to open the document in the cloud, not having to download onto your system, where that breaks the link, and that's when BIM doesn't work. And then it also opens up on any device. So the major advantage to BIM 360 Team is that it can be opened up on an iPhone, an Android phone, a Windows phone, and an Android tablet or an iPad. It can also be opened up on any web browser. It's web compliant, so you don't have to download a particular piece of software to open it. And there's also, so it's, you can review, you can do there's a major part of it is the compare functionality. So say if you're working with an architect and they upload the model, they don't have it identified as what changes they've made to their model. They might say, oh, it's updated, we've reviewed a particular section of the building. With the compare functionality on BIM 360, if you open it up, you can compare between the two versions, and it'll show you exactly what square meterage has changed in a particular wall, if a wall has moved, and if items have been deleted, and it'll highlight them in colour and give you a visual understanding as to what has changed. You can compare sheets as well too, to show you what has compared between version 10 or version 9. So it kind of streamlines the whole project delivery. So it's good if you had a client on this, they would have an understanding as to how their project is advancing. So they can even have feedback to say this is not as we discussed. So rather than having big discussions at the end of a project and trying to iron out, and then you're constantly fighting at the end of a project to see, yes, we agreed on this, no, we didn't. It's a streamlined effect, so there's no data lost or there's no loss of communication. So there's other cloud tools as well that I don't know if you're aware of for aiding the BIM process. One is BIM 360 Glue, where it's a cloud-based situation as well, where every discipline is invited onto it, and they just within 5 minutes they have their model published to a cloud environment. So that saves the time of having to detach from central your model, purge all unused items, and delete any sheets or any linked items that you have in your model that you have to upload at the end of every week, which as part of your deliverables. So you're saving having to upload 200 megabytes, whereas this will create an NWC file and it publishes it up to the cloud. And then once that is uploaded and you have a federated model, it starts populating. So you have your M&Es loaded and also then the architect's model. So it's a constant live federated model process created. That's Glue. Then there's Field, which is it's more a quality tool where you have all your check sheets, all in the one cloud source. So your owner has access to it, the architect, engineer, all the trades, so they can start doing their snagging and managing equipment. All the site diaries can be fully incorporated into this, and health and safety assessments can be ran. You can have access to the library where you have your most up-to-date drawings, and the model can be accessed through it as well. So everyone is working off the one environment, and there's no data being lost. You can do your snagging on it, and like as I said, all data resides in the one interface. There's also docs, is what Jonathan mentioned there as well, where it's a CD compliant, it's secure, so there's versioning control. You can assign who you want to have access to any particular section of the platform. You also can, it's similar enough to Team. It has its compare function, it has its large model viewer, so you can open up your model and view it out on on site. So no one has to, as you mentioned, have to open up a Navisworks file. They probably have to go back to the cabin, download what Navisworks file has been produced, and have to view it on a pretty sizable enough machine that can run Navisworks. Whereas with Docs, you just open up the file on your tablet. As you're out on site, you can review it, you can relay information back to the office and tell them, yes, it's as per you've designed, and so everyone is being informed. There's also an RFI submittal tool in Docs where you can create your RFIs and start tracking them until they're fully signed off and approved. And there's, as it's one source of truth where whatever version you open up on that, you know that everyone is working off it. So that's Docs, and then it's on a one app. So that's more or less a quick overview of what cloud solutions are available, and there's just to make people awareness of cloud. I know we see companies saying, "Oh, we don't want to have our data on the cloud," but it's starting to come into knowledge now. So thanks very much.
Thank you.